This week on the Broncos Sports Report, we're talking about wrestling, basketball, hockey, track, softball, and so much more. Hi, welcome to the Broncos Sports Report. I'm your host, Demetrius Wright. Always with me is my man, Austin, the sports writer from the Vista.
It's good to be back. How are you today, Demetrius?
I am good, Austin. And along with us today, we have Jared Hall. You know him from the Huddle. That's right, you know him from the Huddle. So it's good to have you here. Welcome.
It's good to join this craziness with you two fellas. Talk a little sports action on the Broncos Sports Report. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it will be wonderful. Okay, are we ready? Let's go with the first topic. Our first topic this week is wrestling. Austin, our boys, how are they doing? What are they doing?
They're still doing good. They won a couple more matches this weekend. They played first against Newman, and they dominated that 38-4. And then they played against Washita Baptist in Arkansas this weekend.
Question, is it Washita, Washita? It's hard to pronounce the name. You know, where are they from? I was somewhere in Arkansas, I know, but how you pronounce it? It's Washita?
Well, I looked it up, and it did say Washita, so
Washita.
That's what I'm going with.
Okay. Hey, Jared, how did they do this week? What happened? How did they do in wrestling?
This week when they were playing Newman, when they were up 38-4, they won over Newman. The only decision they lost was at 125 pounds, and then they really rolled. 8 out of 9 seniors picked up victories in that one. And then Corey Dauphin got his 44-match winning streak. He continued that against their next match. So very good job by the Broncos on the wrestling.
Yeah, the Broncos went as a wrestling team. Last week I made the guarantee that they're bringing home gold. And they are bringing home gold. I stick by my guarantee. I stick by it. They're bringing home gold because the wrestling team they're a good team. Their bigs dominate, and then their little guys. Their little guys are quick, fast, but they're stronger than they look, and they're able to actually really dominate. They only lose one match if they lose a match during the wrestling match.
Well, them being number 5, they really haven't been tested a lot. And in this last match, they were kind of tested and had to use that come-from-behind victory of Dauphin to actually get the win. So it really tests them. Coming down to tournament time, it shows them that they can come from behind, and they're not just a good team that plays from ahead.
And it always helps when you got those 3 middleweights that they have in Jordan Bass, Corey Dauphin, and Chris Watson, all Americans. That helps too. Yeah. They're stacked.
All right. That's quick and easy. Next topic. Women's basketball. All right. Women's basketball. I love them. I love them deeply. I want them to win. Austin, what happened?
Well, they're struggling right now. They just lost their 5th consecutive game against Pittsburgh State. They fall to 10-11 in conference, 5-9, 10-11 overall, and 5-9 in conference play. And they were actually up by 1 with 10 minutes to go. It did not score for 9 minutes and were outscored 23-2 and fell their 5th straight game.
Jared, what's going on with the women's basketball team?
Basketball is a game of runs, but anytime you give up a 23-2 run to your opponent, it's going to be hard to win a game like that. And like you said, with the lead they had, really just Coach Hardiker cannot be happy with the execution of his team. It just really showed, and the lack of discipline cost them in that loss, really.
And see, I understand that, and I'm with that, but when they had the lead and they couldn't score, I really thought they was going to win in the
12 straight shots, 9 field goals. So
it wasn't pretty at all.
It was not pretty. And I'm still emotional about it. I'm hurting because I want the girls to have a victory. I want them not just a victory, but a win streak. I want them to go on a win streak and go far, but I can't get it. I can't will it. I'm trying to will them a victory, and it's not working.
Inconsistency has pretty much defined what their whole season has all been about, especially shooting.
You agree?
Off and on.
They battled through some injuries at the beginning of the year, but just really, like you said, haven't been consistent, haven't been able to knock down easy looks, just free throws, just lack of discipline. It's just really cost them in these games, and 5 straight losses, not a good look right now for the Lady Broncos.
Maybe they should take some time away from school and just go play some more. Forget going to class and just
shooting.
go practice.
Spring break's not till next month, so they need to stay in the gym if they want some success.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We hope they do better. Next topic, we're going to men's basketball. Haha, beat the buzzer. Men's basketball. Next topic is men's basketball. Austin, how my boys doing?
The men's are kind of on the right track, the exact opposite of women. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They just defeated Pittsburgh State this weekend, 80-72. So a good win for the Broncos, and they're really starting to get it together as the season comes to an end.
Jared, do you think this trend will continue?
I think so. Cal Andrews had a big game for UCO. Really being able to distribute the scoring throughout the team. And then Pittsburgh State's traditionally a very good team in the conference. So that's a big win for UCO men. Really doing a nice job right now trying to put together a streak heading into a very important time in the season.
Yeah. And they just got back a key player down low in the post from Australia who is going to cause matchup problems for other teams too. So that helps too.
Okay, that takes me into the tournament time. Are they going to be able to succeed when it's tourney time, playoff time? Tourney time?
They really rely on Josh Gibbs a lot. So, it's really going to be how far can Josh Gibbs carry them, and can his supporting cast really step up and try and help him out around tournament time?
And again,
they have the ability to make a good run.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, they also depend on the 3-point shooting too. And like I said, they've struggled defensively at periods throughout the season. Can they win on an off night shooting? Can they defend?
Yeah, turnovers has cost them a couple games too, like that. So taking care of the ball is really what Coach Evans is preaching to his team right now, heading into this important.
Okay. All right. Next topic. Next topic is hockey. One of my favorite. It's my third favorite sport.
Yep.
Hockey is my third favorite sport. We know this. You went to the game. To the match.
Jared,
give me your opinion.
Oh, it was tons of fun. It was my first action getting out to check out hockey, and it was a great game to check out with the UCO taking on Oklahoma in a very good rivalry right there. As we saw throughout the whole match, a lot of trash talking going on between a lot of the UCO fans and the goalie, who I guess used to play at UCO. So big backstory right there that we're not going to get all the way into.
We probably shouldn't get into that.
Yeah, but a very good game. Just really off UCO up 2-0, then 5 straight goals for OU. Put the Sooners in control of that one. They ended up dropping that one 6-4 on Friday night.
And it was a physical match too. The second period you could really see frustrations come out from UCO and stuff, and it got really frustrating for them. Multiple fights
at one
broke
point,
out.
Yeah, at one point it was 3-on-3.
3-on-3.
2 people in the box for each team, so it was physical.
So you could tell these teams do not like each other.
Especially with Holmes mixing it up. The fans were liking to give him the business all night.
This was one of the best atmospheres at a UCO sporting event I have seen.
It probably didn't help that it was dollar beer night. So
that didn't help either.
The environment was pretty good.
And nobody drinks beer at UCO. That's silly.
And then also just add UCO also fell on Saturday to the Sooners too, 4-2. So they got swept.
Okay, so with that, does that mean that UCO and OU, I know UCO was higher in the rankings, and does that mean OU's higher now? Or is it
everyone's kind of trying to catch Arizona State right now?
Yeah, the two teams are they're close. OU was ranked 3rd coming into this match, so they're, like you said, better in the rankings. The conference standings has kind of been really close.
The man said that's the time. We got to go to the next topic. The next topic is track and field. There was an invitational this weekend in Norman. It was UCO's invitational. And yes, it's held in Norman. It's confusing. I don't understand it. Austin, did you check it out? Jared, did you check it out? Somebody tell me something.
Lacey Rhodes, All-American here at UCO, always does well for us. She had a couple of top 2 finishes to pace to UCO. It was actually held at the Musier indoor facility, and so they'll be down there next week for the Oklahoma Baptist. But Lacey Rhodes, the senior All-American, won her 3rd high jump title of the indoor season with 5.8 effort, and was also runner-up in the 60-meter hurdles. So good job by Lacey Rhodes.
Up-and-coming freshman star Ashley Bryant also had another good performance too. She put in another top 10 performance.
So how did the team do?
I think they did pretty well. They had more solid finishers too. It was overall, I thought it was a pretty good event for the Broncos.
Where I remembered, I think there was 8, 10 top 10 finishers in every event. Is
They
that what it
had
was?
multiple top 10
there's
finishers.
multiple top 10 finishers, but those really led,
Those
in a
kinda set
couple
the-
different areas.
Yeah.
Lacey Rhodes, All-American. It's going to be tough to really replace her. She's a senior right now, so they need to really get on the recruiting path and try and look for someone who can really carry the torch for the track and field once she takes her next step, because, she's really done a lot of good things for the Broncos.
Okay. All right, next topic. Haha, beat the buzzer. Next topic is softball. Softball. What do you got on it?
Softball, defending champs begin their trek for a repeat this weekend in Las Vegas at the Desert Stinger Tournament. And they got off to a slow start. They lost their first 3. They finished strong, winning their first last 2. But I think it's going to be kind of, I don't know, with new coach, it's going to be kind of tough for them. They'll kind of have to get used to it, I think. That was a question mark I had coming into the season. How would they play with their new coach?
Jared, what do you think about it?
I think they have a lot of returning starters back from last year's team, but like you said, with Cody White being the interim coach, it's a different feel for the girls right now, and so they were trying to feel out the whole process, and having that number one target on their back, they're obviously going to get everyone's their number one shot every game, and so they've seen that the first couple games and got off to a slow start. And they were never out of any of those games. They were very competitive in all of those. And they finally started to see some success now back at 2-3. And now they're going to be back at home, here coming up. And then we'll see what they really have. But they're going to get everyone's best shot every day. So they're going to have to be prepared for that.
And it's a brutal first month of the season for the softball with 3 tournaments. They're traveling a lot. They're not even – their first home game isn't until the beginning of March.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of traveling. And again, like Jared said, handling the pressure of being that team that just won the championship, being number one, getting everybody's best shot.
All those expectations you have, everyone still has those expectations. Just because they lost their coach, they still have the number one ranking. And so that's a lot even for Coach White to try and manage too.
Right. Okay. Really, on softball, I'm nervous about softball. I'm going to tell you. Because I want them to repeat, and I think they can repeat. I'm just nervous being that when you're number one, there's, like you said, there's that big target on your back, and everybody wants.
You go from being the hunter to the hunted. Everyone wants to come at you at that point.
All right. There's the buzzer. The man says we got to switch. So we're switching topics. The next topic, National Signing Day. High school letter of intent you can sign. So, Jared, didn't you do a story on that?
Yeah, I was able to get out last week and catch up at Edmond Santa Fe, where they had 5 players sign national letters of intent to sign to play college football. 3 of those playing at NEO. It's Michael Farmer, Austin Mack, and Quinzel Jones. And with Malik Earl, all-state wide receiver for the Wolves, playing at Missouri State, and Justice Hanson, the big story, playing at OU quarterback. So I was able to get out and check that out. Some really good footage from there. I made my way out to Edmond Santa Fe last Wednesday for National Signing Day. Edmond Santa Fe Wolves were celebrating the signing of Justice Hanson signing with the Oklahoma Sooners, as well as a couple other signings. They had Malik Earl, the all-state wide receiver who signed on with Missouri State, as well as 3 other players, Austin Mack, Quinzel Jones, and Michael Farmer, who also signed their national letters of intent to play college football at the next level. They will all be signing with Northeastern Oklahoma. I was able to catch up with head coach Lance Manning and Justice Hanson to talk to them about a little bit about their legacy at Edmond Santa Fe.
These guys there, since they've been playing here since sophomores, are what are they, 26-9 or something like that. So they've won a lot of football games, and I think that they've rekindled the tradition at Edmond Santa Fe High School in football and put us back on the map as far as being a district championship contender and playoff contender year in and year out. And I think we're well respected on this side of the state in football because of these seniors and what they've accomplished.
Just a tradition, really. Not only with the whole team, but with quarterbacks. Josh Heupel, where Coach Heupel has, he's developed a lot of quarterbacks, and I like to be one of them. It really doesn't change it. I just got to work as hard as I can and play the best I can. It's the coach's job to sort that out in the end. It feels good. I went through a lot here at Santa Fe, pretty much finally getting my name on the map and everything. So just to be back here where it really began is great. Really just a challenge, just balancing everything, trying to get a grasp of the offense while I'm trying to, get all my school stuff situated. Oh, yeah. just the workload from the weight room to just studying everything, with meetings and along with school and homework and everything. So it's just a lot.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, good story, Jared. All right, before let's go ahead and move on. It came out that Marcus Smart, he happened to accidentally, I'm going to say, foul somebody, and as he accidentally fouled somebody, he fell into the crowd, and then once he fell into the crowd, he was getting up, and as he was getting up, someone happened to get in his way, and he kind of slightly moved them out of the way because he was headed the wrong way, and then he realized that he was going back to the court.
Is that Marcus Smart's version of events, or is
No, that might be how I see it, just because I don't like players getting in trouble. And that, he got 3-game suspension. Do you think the suspension was long enough, or what do you think about it?
I thought I like the suspension. I thought 3 to 5 games anywhere in between there would have been good, because you just can't do that no matter what the fan says. You can't go into the fan crowd and push them. You just can't. It's selfish. It's kind of putting the attention on you and not the team. And now you got 2 big games coming up against Texas and Oklahoma, and he's not going to be there. So it takes away from the team and puts him more in the spotlight.
Jared?
I personally think it should have been longer. I'm not gonna deny I'm not the huge Marcus Smart fan, but I think he's a flopper. I think he exaggerates a lot, and I don't think anyone really knows besides the fan and Marcus Smart what was actually said in their altercation. But I think that Marcus Smart, knowing they just had lost Stevie Clark, knowing that they have maybe 2 or 3 subs at max on the bench there, he has to be smart. He's supposed to be the leader of that team. He has to really carry them, and he really just put them in a bad position. But ultimately, does that start from a head? Does that start from Travis Ford?
See, that's
it's
what I was
his
thinking.
First outburst.
Yeah, see, what I'm thinking is it has to do a lot with the coaching. You know, you got to be able to control your players. Not so much, you can't control what they're doing on the court. You can guide. We got to move on. Actually, before we move on, I'm still talking about this because this is bothersome to me. Marcus Smart, this whole issue is bothersome. I agree with the 3-game suspension, but I'm thinking Travis Ford, you need to pull in your players. You need to wrangle them in because you got suspensions. You're kicking players off the team. He went from being top dog to being outburst, and
this is a very telling time for Travis Ford. I think if he can't wrangle it in and try and get some sort of semblance of control in this program, this might be his last season in Stillwater.
Definitely. This might be his last season.
Discipline has definitely been a problem with this program this season with Stevie Clark. It took 3 offenses for a freshman, nonetheless, to finally get kicked off the team.
Yeah.
So Travis Ford, you got to do something. You got to do something about your players. You got to do something about your team because you went from being inside the top 5, nationally ranked, and now you're falling. And before you know it, by March Madness, you may not even be in the madness because of all of your past madness coaching your team. So, Travis, do something better. Marcus, calm down, play the game. Forget everything else. Calm down, play the game. You know how to play it. Play the game. All right, we're moving on. Next topic. Michael Sams, the #1 defensive player coming out of the SEC. Michael Sams, he won Defensive Player of the Year. He has come out and said he's going to be openly gay, or he is openly gay. So, what do you say?
It's big news, and I don't think that surely this isn't going to hurt his draft stock any. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him, because I think it's huge if the NFL is going to accept him in the locker room. I think they will, but, NFL doesn't draft, teams draft.
I think it's very courageous. I for one, want to give a huge shout-out to Michael Sam for doing that. I commend him for doing that. Whatever he wants to do in his personal life to make him happy, I'm all for it. He plays the game at a very high level, all-American defensive lineman out of Missouri, and they had a very good defense all year.
Yeah.
He's projected a 2nd to 3rd round pick, so right now. But I saw one of the very important tweet this morning that Andrew Brandt, he's a well-renowned ESPN analyst, he said that while the NFL is coming out and supporting Michael Sam, it's not the NFL that drafts these players. It's the teams.
Right.
So it's really on these teams to step up and try to make a commitment, control the environment, and have that player come in and try to have some success. And I think they can if they control the environment.
Yeah, we're going to see at draft time. When he get after the combine, after everything else.
You don't want that to come out at the combine.
You don't want it to come out the combine. You don't want it to come out. I'm thinking, what if he would have waited? It wouldn't be as big of an issue if he'd have waited till after draft time and after he got picked.
But you just don't want to hear those whispers if you're a player. You don't want, you know what I mean? His teammates knew it all year. But
Right.
They did a very good job in Missouri sheltering it and not allowing it to come out to the media.
And that kind of shows how close of a team Missouri actually was. And I think that also helped their success this season, too, being that close and supporting their teammate.
Granted, I agree. I don't think it's really a big issue. I really don't. Because he can play, and it should be about how you play the game.
It's a job, just like anything else.
All right, there's the buzzer. We got to go next topic. Wait for it. Coming up next, Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder. They happen to lose by a split second. Blah, blah, blah.
Tobias Harris, last little game-winning jump.
Tobias
Jared,
Harris.
talk about it. Jared, tell me about it. What happened?
Tobias Harris, last little at the second buzzer beater, just got the win for the Magic.
Yeah.
You just don't want to see that if you're a Thunder fan, though, because you want to win games that you're supposed to win.
Yeah. And effort on that last play kind of seemed to be at a minimum. But they did bounce back and beat the Knicks impressively this weekend. So
KD 41,
Yeah.
almost with a triple-double.
near triple-double.
So we're good on that. It was lack of effort. I understand it. That is all the time we got. Wait, let me check with the man. The man, do you have anything else? We got nothing else. That is our show for this week. This is the Broncos Sports Report. I'm your host, Demetrius Wright, with Austin and Jared. We will see you next week because we're talking about the sports that matter to you.